All right, so today is lower day B, which is why we're not squatting, you know? Um, I'm sure by now you guys have figured out how these kind of things go anyway. So I'm gonna just talk about why I'm doing the hack squat, instead of doing the pendulum squat, which is right next to me, or why I'm not doing a leg press, right? So the reason I'm doing a hack squat is just because I feel like it engages more of the entire leg, right? So it's a great primer substitute for squats, just like the pendulum. But the pendulum is mostly like quad bias is the primary and sometimes secondary muscles active. It's just different parts of the quad and maybe some glute, right? Fantastic machine. And the reason I'm not doing a leg press is just I feel like leg press is a simply inferior movement if what you're trying to do is do some kind of squat adjacent motion, right? So I did the hack squat because I want to get a more holistic approach to, I guess, replacing squats for my B days. And I also want to get like that feel-good feeling that I get from squatting, which I can get with the pendulum, but it's greater on the hack squat, is because I feel like the hack squat is of equal or greater difficulty than the regular squat. And the other reason, oh, these are safeties. And the other reason why I'm doing the hack squat is because I feel like it's really easy to load and overload and progressively load and all that good stuff. I don't have a plate on here just because I don't know how my knee is willing to feel about this. This is the most unpredictable motion for my knee's comfort. The pendulum is very predictable, it works in the same range. It is surprisingly really okay with that. The leg press is right behind it. Sometimes my knee doesn't like it, sometimes whatever. The squat, ironically, my knee has expressed almost little to no discomfort with, but with this guy, all kinds of flare-ups. So we'll see how it goes today. There aren't too many people here today, so I think we'll be able to, compared to like in the afternoon, there's practically nobody here. But we should be able to get through what we need to do relatively quickly. It is currently 6:42, and I'm here by myself as far as parties go, and I think that's about it. But I'm going to do this first set, warm up, adjust, figure out what I'm going to do, and then I will talk about today's topic. I'll tell you right now, my body is not a fan of this. My left hip flexor is pretty tight, so there's that. There's like a lag or a delay in pushing from this leg versus this leg. My knee is okay for the most part, so that's cool. I think I'm just feeling generally slow, generally sluggish. I couldn't tell you why though, but I am. But anyway, today's topic, which I'm going to talk about as much as possible without trying to make references to history. I'll try. But today's topic is going to be mass industrialization. I don't know, well, I don't have a catchy title in mind at the moment, but mass industrialization has been, as far as how long the human race has been on this planet, has been a relatively recent thing. And for some nations, it's still presently recent. Some countries in the global south are still trying to figure out how to industrialize correctly. And a lot of them, not a lot of them, but the ones that are on the map presently got lucky with oil. And so you've got a whole swath of petrol states, petrol kingdoms and whatnot. And, I think that's fine and dandy and all. But the thing that happens with industrialization is that it, for the most part, disrupts how we as a people work in most ordinary situations. Ugh, sorry, I got a burp, it's not coming out. In most ordinary situations, right? For example, I'm going to use this example a lot actually. A pre-industrial society or civilization is called an agrarian society or civilization, where most of what they do is agriculturally based. Agrarian is to farm, to be of farmers, right? And, one might think, well, what about like the Greeks or something? They weren't always agriculturally based. Well, yes, they were. Agriculture and warfare were their main trades, right? Aside from, all the literature and stuff that we get from them. But that wasn't their main thing, right? People wrote because they had the freedom and protection to do so, right? You could see it almost as like a pseudo industrialization. There have been several different stages of industrialization throughout time, right? Next slide. There have been several different industrializations throughout time. The first being when people stopped hunting and gathering. The second being when the steam engine and all of its relatives came into being. And the third being the most modern one, the invention of the internet, or I guess you call it harnessing the ether, because the internet doesn't really exist for the most part. But yeah, so mass industrialization, right? You take that topic and you can split it into a lot of different things. And I think for today, I'm going to try and focus on all of the non-historical aspects of mass industrialization. But I'm going to go through each different period and what it means for us presently. Starting with the first pseudo-industrialization, when people when people could stop foraging for food, and the first cities popped up with farms and whatnot. Right? This would take us to put some more weight on here. This would take us to Mesopotamia, if I'm not mistaken. So when people had the ability to chill out for a bit And people have the ability to chill out for a bit and rely on others to feed them, more or less. That's what farmers do. That's their role. Is you rely on them. You have to make sure that they are still alive and that they can do their jobs so that you have the freedom to kind of do what you want other than farming. So after people established that kind of system, a hierarchy popped up, but we're going to ignore hierarchies. I think we'll address that some other time. But when farms and cities popped up, people could start doing what they wanted to do, right? I've already said that point. And what I meant by what people could do what they wanted to do was that they could explore their minds. They could live in the immaterial world, or they could go out and create things, or they could innovate, right? Without the constant fear of like, this is only for survival, right? Or this is only so that my family doesn't die, right? So that is the basis of what industrialization is, right? But the only right and proper academic sense of industrialization would be, factories and mass production and Amazon, pretty much. That's probably the best way to talk about it. Oh. But there are other forms throughout time, so I think it's best to highlight those kind of things. So during the first one, people started creating art like pottery and philosophical writings, and people started to think more, and innovation was extremely, extremely slow. But innovation was also something that's always going to be slow. You can't pop up one day and invent something. I mean, you can try, but it's going to have to be vetted through a process, and it's going to have to go through steps X, Y, and Z to make sure that whatever you're trying to make or push is going to work in the real world, right? But if you create a product that only works in a bubble, then can you really put it out there, or is it is it a time and place tool, right? So next, talking about the second industrialization, and that would take us to England, right? Yeah, I believe it take us to England. So my last set on the leg press, hack squat. Doing all right. But we'll move over to do some SD or SLDLs, and then talk about England. Maybe I ain't go forward and understand that they ain't moving at all. When they need a favor, who they call. Maybe I'm searching for the problem. I said who was involved. Some people speed back and they say the shoe can always fit no matter who put it on. These days feel like I'm crazy in them. Whoever won before just wasn't thinking big enough about the legal with them. Cause if I run the game in the end, then the kids are split it. No pun intended, but they selling the feet in the hell. Had it when nobody took it, feeding me here. They tell them that he doesn't care. Being humble don't work as well as being aware. Listen up, boy. So, England, right? We already got spring 2015 popping. We have our second industrializational period, industry booming period, whatever you want to call it. The reason why I call England out for this one is because this second industrialization was the I'm trying to remember which one came first. There was the green industrialization, and then there was the steam age. And if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me, but I'm pretty sure the green came first, and then the steam age. No. Steam age came first, yeah. Because they used machines for the green industrialization. So, you have the steam age, right? Well, both of which occur in England. The beginning of the steam age and the start of the green revolution, right? So, with the steam age, you had the start of automation in machinery, along with the improvement of lifespans and whatnot. And so people were able to take the things that other people did and improve upon them more and more, because people were living longer, so ideas had more time to float in the air. First steam engine comes around, and people are like, "Oh, it's a genius." Mind you, the steam engine, if I'm not mistaken, actually came from the Islamic Golden Age, about, I want to say 300, 400 years before the European steam age, and then they pushed it out to the rest of the world, because the steam age happened after their age of exploration. So this is after, slavery was a thing. Well, after slavery became a mainstay thing, and this is also after the creation of the 13 colonies. So, big time disparity here. But anywho, steam comes to pass, and people are very happy about it. People are living longer, the quality of life is improving, and stuff like that. But the reason why this one matters to our topic of mass industrialization is because this period is the beginning of, as I said earlier, automation, right? And when you have automated technologies, you have actual people doing less and less, right? And when people do less in work, they have more time to do more, like artistically, right? And so you see a very big uptick in art, different kinds of art, surrealist art. I think contemporary became a thing at this point, and you've got people making sculptures again, and people writing again, and poetry, and playwrights coming back to the scene, because people just have more time to do things, right? So yeah, steam age is very important, especially for the cultural individualisticness of England, but that also kind of doesn't matter by the end of the steam age and the beginning of the green revolution, just because the people of the world had done so much. Well, I guess the people of Europe have done so much to make England not stand out, and they were all like, "Oh, well, I want to do this too. I want to get on this." And so eventually everybody gets in on it, and then no one stands out, right? But I made this next set, and hopefully it all goes well. Alright. I feel like mostly my calves. I don't know. I feel in my upper glute, but not a whole lot. I don't know. But what was that? Oh yeah, the steam age. And so as the excitement of the steam age starts to, peter out, then people are looking for new things to invent and innovate. And this is when the idea of patents became a really big thing. Because if you could lay siege to an idea before someone else could, you get a patent, which means no one else can make that same thing, or at least not the same way that you make it. And I believe patents last for 15 years. So you had minor monopolies popping up all over the place where someone would invent an idea, it'd be there for 15 years. And if they go about it right, then you've got an industry around one person, one idea, one product, and they get rich. Right? So people start getting really rich really quick. And then you go to America, skip ahead a few years, you've got the oil barons and the railroad tycoons and stuff like that. And then we're going to go to our third industrialization era or period, and that would be the formation of the internet as we know it. So a few things happened before that, between the steam age and the internet. World War I, World War II, the atom bomb, nuclear fission and fusion. No, just nuclear fusion. That's how you deactivate the atom bomb. Let's see, steam engines died out. Trolley cars aren't a thing anymore. That was really big during the steam age. Well, the end of the steam age was public transportation through trolley cars. Oil barons made sure you don't have that. And then the internet first came into being as a thing for a private core was through the Manhattan Project, because they needed to connect universities all across America. And so they used what would later become the internet. So the internet was born as a weapon, and now something that is widely commercialized is still a weapon. Whether people realize it or not, the internet is probably one of the greatest weapons ever made. But yeah, the internet is also our third and most recent industrial revolution for sort of terms, right? Look at this. So this would have been easier with a barbell, but whatever. Ooh. So next thing we're going to work on is going to be hamstrings, some hamstring curls, while we talk about the internet and the global digitalization of the world and the loss of reality that came with it.
If I knew that I was wrong, I would either way.
So, the internet, right? Now, I know a lot of people love the internet. I love the internet. I think it's great. But there are, how do I put it? There are weapons that lurk in the dark, right? With everything that comes to be. So, you just gotta learn how to, I guess, recognize them and use them to your advantage. One thing that I wanted to highlight before I talk about the whole industry thing, industrialization thing, is that the internet, like I said earlier, is one of the greatest weapons to ever come to pass. But it's not a one-sided weapon. Like the atom bomb, it can be used against you. And I'm sure when I say that, someone's going to listen to that and be like, what the hell is he talking about? When you use an atom bomb, especially against another highly developed first world nation, chances are they have one too. You shoot one, they shoot one. You shoot three, they shoot three, right? The term is called MAD, or mutually assured destruction, right? And so both sides lose. So having an atom bomb is called strong arming, or with walking with a big stick, or a term of nuclear deterrence, right? You have a bomb, they have a bomb. It's a double-sided weapon, right? And even then, if whoever you're shooting it against is close enough and their detection system's great enough, they can shoot that bomb out the air above your own airspace, and then you have to deal with the radioactive fallout. My point being, the internet works the same way. It is a double-edged sword, right? If I were to go on the internet and start spewing my perspective on a certain topic, right? Someone could come back on that same topic and try and persuade me or change my mind, right? Now, in a sense like that, it's not being used as a weapon, right? But if someone with a very large following were to say that this is what I have against the government, blah, 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 and the government goes on and creates like Smurfs, or they create like smaller accounts and counteract that, right? That's that double-edged effect, where it's like, yes, you can say what you want, but they will fight you, right? So there's that out there. If I'm not mistaken, a friend told me it's called mimetic warfare, where they use memes to counter culture to put everyone back on the right track, right? But back to my main topic of industrializing things. But let me hit this set. Okay, so we all know now that the internet came from the Manhattan Project and the need for an atomic weapon, right? And then there was the dot-com era and the www, and then there were applications or apps on pseudo smartphones, cell phones with screens, and then the invention of the smartphone, and then from the smartphone, we're now at the period where you've got an AI phone, right? Instead of having just the CPU and your GPU in a phone, or just the GPU in a cell phone, you now have an AI processor on CPU and GPU. So phones are, in some sense, phones are greater than some computers, like boxes, standalones. So there's that, right? And it's like, how did we get here? What does this do for us? What does this mean for us, right? So in this period, this topic, I'm going to talk about how the internet is beneficial and how it is eroding our society as a whole, not just an American society, but a global one. I think it has a ginger beard. Anyway, all right. So the internet is actually really good for us in a few ways, right? Faster communication, the globe is connected in more than one way, and you can communicate with people from various languages thanks to Google Translate, and it's easier to do projects and collaborate together, and it just helps with a whole lot of different things, right? So there's that, but the internet, through its various applications and processes and stuff like that, it's also, here's kind of that gray area where it's like, yes, you can get on Instagram and talk to your friends and look at memes and stuff, but you don't know where the memes are coming from, what their agenda is, what they're trying to push, who's really, who stuff are you really laughing at, then you share it and you don't know which ideas you're sharing, right? And then there is also the bubbles, right? They're the thought bubbles that emerge from the internet, from different forums and different places on the internet. The internet is a very big place. And these bubbles are extremely dangerous, especially left untended. It's better to pop these bubbles sooner rather than later. So there's that. But that's the good and the gray. I'm talking about the bad. So, real quick, I just have to do, honestly, with those three motions, I low-key could be done, but because those are the three that I had listed for today. Just needed a few touch-ups on a few things. I'm trying to think. I'm like, I think that's all I have to do. I could do more, but I don't think it would work to my benefit right now. So I'm actually Go to the posing room. Let's talk about the bad of the internet. All right, so here we are in the posing room. Not the most like jaw-dropping pump, but you know, I think it's fairly nice for what it is. Let me make sure you guys can see it all in its glory. Actually, hold on. Yeah, that's all right. It looks pretty shitty in the camera compared to in the mirror, but you know, what can I really do? But anyway, so the internet is good and bad for several reasons, right? One reason why I think it's actually really good, well, actually, what am I talking about? I already talked about the good reasons. So I think, wow, look at that, what the fuck? But one of the reasons I think it's really bad are the thought bubbles I talked about earlier. I know I put them in a gray area, but as I was walking over here, I saw the two different groups of people, right? There were two ladies who were laughing and having a lot of fun at the gym, and then there was one guy standing by himself, you know, staring into the mirror. And I was like, no, thought bubbles are a bad idea, right? Because then you get people who think that, oh my God, there's veins in my legs. This is new. Then you get the kind of people who believe that, you know, life is a humdrum woe is me, right? I don't know if it was a little too close. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, that looks so much better. What the fuck? But, you know, nobody really wants to be the woe is me kind of guy. So, well, I mean, some of us. I don't want to be the woe is me kind of guy. I don't think there's any point to it. But there's the thought bubbles, and then there's also the creation of subcultures within cultures. Like let's take gaming for example. You know, gaming is really awesome, and there are people who think gaming is really awesome, and there are people who think that gaming is only for guys. I think those are the people I'm trying to talk about when I say that some subcultures are dangerous, right? Hey, look at these calves actually. But yeah, I know the internet section was really short. I kind of regret that, but because there's so much to talk about there, so who knows. But anyway, if you guys liked today's video, if you like today's topic or the way that I explain topics, please let me know. If there's something that I should do different in the next video, also please let me know. So yeah, this is going to be a short one just because today was kind of just a focus day, more like going in, getting what I need to get done, and then going out. So yeah, sorry if today's was super short, but yeah, let me know if there's anything I can do to improve, anything that you liked or didn't like, so on and so forth. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks for your time.